All right, so we talked a little bit about what this course is about. The next thing that I want to talk about is how the course is going to work. What is the structure of the class? How are things going to be graded? That sort of thing. Now, the most important thing to have for this class is the course website. To get to the course website, you want to start at my website, ntuck-neu.site. Let's go over there. And then you want to click on this course, Robotic Science and Systems. Now, if you're watching this video lecture, you've probably already found that. But if you haven't, this is the webpage where all the other resources that you need are going to be. Now, here on the course website, which is also the syllabus, we start off with a quote from the course catalog, and then we go straight into the essential resources that you're going to need to complete the class. First thing, we have Inkfish. Inkfish is a tool that I built to manage homework and homework submission in computer science courses. And so that's where you're going to find the assignments to complete. That's where you're going to submit the work once you're done with it. We have Piazza. You're probably familiar with Piazza. It's a place where we can do discussion online, sort of asynchronously. You can post questions or messages, or mostly questions there, and then other students or course staff can later answer those questions. We're also going to be using Microsoft Teams for discussion. If you have questions that you want to try to answer a little bit quicker, a good place to go look is the general channel in our Microsoft team for this course. And it's probably worth posting some minorly off-topic stuff there just to try to convince people to hang out with that open so that they're around when you have a question related to the course topics. We've got the Scratch Git repository and My Notes. Those are things that My Notes are where I put these pieces of paper that I use to figure out what I'm talking about in lectures. That might be useful. It's not necessarily intended as a student resource, but it has links and things, so it potentially makes a good student resource. Scratch is a Git repository of random stuff that I did either while doing lectures or in our in-class meetings. Finally, we have online lectures. That's what you're looking at right now. And if you go there, you can find all of the video lectures for the course. These video lectures are the primary content. We do also have in-person meetings on Tuesday and Thursday at different times because Northeastern is weird, but we have in-person meetings. The in-person meetings are optional. They are possible to view remotely using Zoom. Again, for the Zoom links, check on Canvas. That's basically all we're using Canvas for, is links to Zoom meetings and Microsoft Teams. But you can, if you have questions and you want to ask them in person, you can come to the in-person meetings. There'll also be some demos of concepts that may or may not be redundant to the online lectures. The 2 meetings each week will be redundant. If I'm doing demos, I'm not going to do wildly different demos between the 2 meetings. It might be incidentally different, but if you skip one of the 2, mostly you'll just be missing questions. So we have office hours. I have office hours. All of our office hours are going to be held on Microsoft Teams. Join the office hours channel, and whoever's holding office hours will be in there waiting for people to ask to meet. You'll either be able to ask questions in real time through Microsoft Teams chat, or if necessary, you can start up a video call with the person that you're talking to. We have 2 TAs who have office hours also on Teams on Tuesday and Thursday. Our assignments are frequently going to be due on Thursday, so we've got a nice lineup of office hours where on the 3 days before assignments are due, course staff is available to help you out. Our schedule isn't entirely done. We have 14 weeks. I know how it starts. We have assignments on the 2 simulator environments we're going to be using. Next week, the first assignment is due, where you're going to set up the gazebo simulator and write a simple control program to run the simulated robot. The week after that, a similar assignment with Kerbal Space Program and a simulated spaceship is going to be due. We're then going to have about 6 more assignments, which are going to be largely about doing tasks with simulated wheeled robots or simulated spacecraft. And then after that, you're going to get to do a final project. Project proposals are due at the beginning of November. The project is going to be a team assignment. I'm not 100% sure how big teams are, but I'm thinking probably teams of 4 will be a valid thing to do. Teams, you'll be able to work across undergrad or grad. You can have both people from both sections together on the same team. That's fine. Although if you have a single grad student, any extra grad requirements apply to your team. What else is going on here? We have some assignments are mandatory. You must submit a serious attempt at these assignments to pass the class. For the setup assignments, the reason for that is because if you don't set up your development environment, you can't possibly work on the later assignments. And I just want to be clear that you're not going to get away with skipping them anyway, so it's explicit here in the syllabus. And then the final project is mandatory because it's the final project, and if you don't do it, you're sort of missing out on the class. Required materials for the class. You have to get Kerbal Space Program, and you have to get Kerbal Space Program in a way that lets you pick what version of Kerbal Space Program you want to run. I know that happens on Steam. The reason for that is because we're turning Kerbal Space Program, which is a video game, into a robotics simulator by using mods. And the mods that we're using, I know, work on version 1.9.1, but the current release version of Kerbal Space Program is version 1.10. The way we're doing grading is every assignment, so each homework, the project proposal, and each piece of the final project, there are 3 parts that you're submitting at the end of the semester for the final project. Each one of these is worth 2 points. The grading is really simple. If you do an excellent job, you get 2 points. If you've made a serious attempt at the assignment, but it's not excellent, you get 1 point. If you don't make a serious attempt at the assignment, you get 0 points. The goal here is that you're supposed to do the work, but we don't want to be spending too much time focused on grading for this stuff. We want to have as much fun playing with robotics as possible and learn as much stuff as we can. A couple extra assignments that don't show up here that just work exactly the same are participation. First, you have to ask and answer good questions on Piazza. Second, you have to participate in the discussion in Microsoft Teams general chat on the team. Again, if it's excellent, you get 2 points, and if you did it, you get 1 point. If you didn't do it, you get no points. Now, the way these points translate into grades is that if you do all the stuff, you get an A. For every 2 points you don't earn, 2 points that were offered but not earned, your grade goes down by 1 level. So if you lose 4 points, that's 2 twice, so your grade goes down by 2 levels. It goes from A to A minus, you're going to get a B plus. If you lose 1 point, you didn't lose 2 points, so nothing happens to your grade, and you still get an A. In addition to these basic assignments, the homeworks, the project pieces, and the 2 participation pieces, there may be additional tasks in the semester that are worth bonus points. These are just extra credit. They don't count towards getting all the points, but they may make up for having lost some of the points. It's possible that there will be 0 bonus tasks. I don't know. The rule on late work is that late submissions will be penalized 1% per hour late. That seems sort of silly with the way that we're doing like large integers for points, but if you submit something, I don't know, 10 hours late, then the maximum score you can get on that assignment is going to be minus 10%. So that's going to be 1.8 points is going to be your maximum score. And that'll just work the way we expect. If you're registering late, make sure you read this text. You'll want to contact me because you potentially can get extensions to make stuff up, but those extensions aren't going to be unlimited. If you don't like your grades on an assignment you got, there's not a lot of space for grade variance. Either you did it or you didn't, and either it's excellent or it's not. But if you think you have an incorrectly assigned grade, you can send a written appeal letter to your grading TA by email explaining why you think it's wrong. They'll either change the grade or send a written denial. If you get a written denial and still don't like your grade, you can go ahead and forward it to me along with a concrete explanation of what you think the TA messed up. And if I think it's wrong, I'll go ahead and fix your grade. The TAs may, their option, allow you to fix sort of incomplete assignments that you submit, but go ahead and make sure that you read the requirements in the assignment and submit everything that's required, because if you lose points, the minimum number of points you can lose is 1, which is half the score on the assignment. If you need accommodations for disabilities or as a student athlete, let me know as soon as possible so we can see how that works. And no cheating. So there's 2 kinds of cheating that we're worried about. The first one is plagiarism. That's when you submit work as an assignment in this class, imply that you did the work, you wrote the code or whatever, and it's actually someone else's work. That's cheating. If you cheat, you immediately fail the class, no warnings. The other thing that's cheating is providing solution code. So if you solve an assignment and you give that completed solution code to another student, that's cheating. If you cheat, you immediately fail the class, no warnings. In what we're working on, there's a lot of cases where collaboration, including potential sharing of code, makes perfect sense and is something that you can do. If you use code written by others, you need to make sure that you are not plagiarizing. If that code is sort of getting textually included in the program that you're writing, you must provide clear written attribution saying what code it is and where it came from, who wrote it, what website you found it on, whatever it is. If you want to share code, the best way to do that is to write a library or some component that is clearly not solving the core part of the assignment. When we're talking about things like building robot control programs, they frequently involve a lot of these sort of library pieces or components of the simulation system. There's all kinds of cases where you potentially want to use someone else's code. If it's part of your setup and it's not something that you submit, there's nothing to worry about. But yeah, if you're submitting something that is sort of part of your submission, you must have attribution. And then the other thing is you are supposed to complete the assignment yourself. So if you, for example, submit a solution that you found on the internet with proper attribution, you're going to get 0 points. You didn't cheat. Plagiarism is only cheating if it's plagiarism and not attributed. But if you didn't do the work, you didn't do the work and don't get any points. You're allowed to post code that you write for this class on the web, but you must clearly specify who you are, why you wrote the code, that it was for this class. There must be clear attribution. And it would be nice if you post something non-trivial that you wrote in this class on the web, that you post it as a Git repository, so it's easy to use. If you turn it into a library, that's even better. And you should explicitly provide a open source license for what you do. That's not required, but without a explicit license, technically nobody can use your work for anything, so it's not super useful for you to have posted it, except as a reference for someone else, like rewriting it. Yeah, plagiarism. So that is the syllabus for the class, is that course website. All right, so we have this situation this semester where we have an ongoing global pandemic. And in relation to the ongoing global pandemic, we have some adaptations that we're dealing with for the semester. And these actually should be here in the syllabus, so I'll put them in after I'm done with this video. But let me pull them up for our cs5335. It's going to end up being almost exactly the same text. So we're doing a non-standard course structure. we're doing a flipped class. Lecture content is going to be provided as pre-recorded lectures that you're expected to watch before the scheduled in-class meetings. Clearly that doesn't make a ton of sense for the first week because I posted the videos kind of late, and yeah, you aren't even, there's no reason for you to even pay attention to the class until the first lecture happens. But for future weeks, you should watch the video lectures online before tuning into the meetings or coming to the in-person meetings. The in-person meetings are optional. They're optional to come to in person, and they're optional to view remotely on Zoom. There'll be demos and then Q&A. The in-person meetings are definitely likely to end early. The demos aren't going to be real long, and we're going to run out of questions. The 2 meetings for each week are going to be largely redundant to each other, so you don't need to attend both unless you really want to hear every last question that anybody asks. There won't be any recording. There won't be in-person office hours. Office hours will be on Teams. For the in-person meetings, we're going to follow the university policies. Some of the key things about the university policies to keep in mind is that if you come to the in-person meetings, you must wear a mask. You must put some effort into maintaining 6-foot social distancing. Having masks on means you can't eat in class, so there's no food in class. And maintaining the 6-foot distancing means that entering and leaving the classroom is going to take extra time, and it's going to take extra space. So go ahead and plan to arrive to the classroom on time if you're going to show up in person. I don't care when you enter and leave the Zoom meeting, even though it goes bang every time someone does that. But if you're going to show up in person, make sure to arrive on time, and expect that sort of technical setup and messes are going to waste some time at the beginning, and we're going to end early just for technical reasons as well. All right, last thing is Inkfish. So Inkfish is linked to from the course website. I mean, it's linked to from both the course websites that I'm running, but we are this one. So Inkfish is linked to here. When you get to Inkfish, you're going to want to click List All Courses. You're going to have a button here that says you can request registration for the robotics course, so you'll want to poke that. Once you get accepted, which could take a little bit of time, make sure to click the Request Registration button as quickly as possible, because I have to manually press a button to approve you, and I'm going to do that once or twice a day. So it could take 6 or even 12 hours. It could take 18 hours between you pressing the Request Registration button and me pressing the Approve Your Access button. And you need to be approved to get access to the homework. But once you're there, you're going to get Homework 1 here, and we'll talk about Homework 1 a little bit more later. But that's the setup for the class. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is, I think it's Kerbal Space Program, but we'll see. Next video might be a surprise.